You know, it may be hotter than Satan's butthole out today, but it is still nonetheless refreshing to hear a leftist say the quiet part out loud.
But my political project is about winning power. I care about winning power, and I care about winning power with candidates who I think have the right platform and the right ideas to transform the Democratic Party into a party that can consistently defeat Republicans and not.
Now, for those of you unfamiliar, that is Democratic Socialist Emma Vigelnd, co-host of the left-wing propagandist network, The Majority Report. And as always with a leftist, irony is inescapable in that this young lady grew up quite wealthy, so wealthy in fact that from 6th to 12th grade she attended a private school with a tuition of 40 grand a year. And much like our favorite left-wing agitator, Hasanabi Piker, she likes to act as if she understands the plight of the poor and the working class better than the working class themselves, even though it's life that she can in no way, shape, or form ever relate to. And of course, much like Hassan Piker, she grifts on the poor, downtrodden, poor me victim class of America to hide the fact that she's actually a fascist.
I don't really care if, say, like Bernie Sanders or AOC go home and they're a secret Nazi, but they go out and they vote for the right things. Like, we're talking about
You don't
politicians as the issue at hand was who has the best chance to defeat Susan Collins so we can actually stop the role of this fascist administration.
So you mean to tell me after calling Donald Trump and all of his supporters Nazis and fascists for 10 years that the only way to defeat them is fascism, is Nazis? What? For the last 10 years, they have called us all those things. And for the last 10 years, we have said, you're projecting. The left is projecting. And they denied and denied and denied until now. Finally, here today, we have the truth spoken out loud by a leftist. Even with Miss Vigelnd telling us the truth out loud of who the extreme left-wing part of the Democratic Party is, there will still invariably be some sort of nutjob leftist getting in my comments saying that's not possible because fascism and Nazism are extreme right-wing ideologies. And all I have to ask you is, how is it on the political spectrum of right versus left do you go from large collectivist government on the left to smaller and smaller government on the right, down to the individual sovereignty, and then invert into a supermassive authoritarian government? That in itself is cognitive dissonance. You have convinced yourself of this false idea because it is the idea that was fed to us post-World War II to create a system that would keep in power the uniparty that we were ruled under for 40, 50, 60 years. Because, of course, a government that wishes to retain power over a people that trend towards individual sovereignty, liberty, well, they have to create a boogeyman on both sides to keep you as far away from either end to maintain their power structure. It is not in the interest of the government to we, the people of America, to fully embrace individual sovereignty, because once you do, once you realize that you are capable of surviving without the government, suddenly the government is far less important. Suddenly you start to wonder, why are we giving so much money to the government to spend on things that don't actually benefit me in any way, when I could spend that money myself on my life to improve or even destroy my life? All this to say that the fight isn't fascism versus communism or socialism. The fight is individualism versus collectivism. Fascism, communism, socialism, they are all sister ideologies that rest solely on the left-wing political spectrum that supports large government, government authority, government control over individual decisions and the way that you live your life, constant meddling in your affairs, licensing everything, regulating everything, committing everything, bureaucracy that ultimately kills a nation. And in the case of all three ideologies, has killed tens of millions of innocent people just in the last century. You know, leftists like to talk about, I've heard the figure, capitalism has caused 1 million deaths a year since World War II. All right, that's 86 million deaths caused by capitalism. That still doesn't touch the number of deaths caused by communism in the matter of 20 years. We're talking 100 plus million dead just in the Soviet Union and China. And not even entirely due to maliciousness, but largely due to incompetence. These people do not care about the downtrodden, the poor. They don't care about immigrants. They don't care about minorities. The only thing that they care about is power. And Miss Vigelnd has told you this herself.
Wary of over-focusing on an individual's personal character over their platform. You know, I've said this before. I don't really care if, say, like Bernie Sanders or AOC go home and they're a secret Nazi, but they go out and they vote for the right things. Like, we're talking about
You don't
politicians as I mean, for the,
I don't know about
This
that.
is
Like,
like
I'm like, that's a. I think these are the lines that people are talking about. Some